Shaun, pleased with the result? What about the performance?
Well, very happy with the result. You're always happy to win a game, and again, we'll look at the scoreline and probably indicate that we did it comfortably. But I thought the first half we were very scratchy, very sloppy, in particularly with the ball. Oldham put us under a lot of pressure, and I don't think we handled that pressure very well. But we were able to go in leading 18-12, and I think the guys felt they were in control, but they knew there was a lot more that we could do. The start of the second half was probably the best part of our game. I think the first 10 to 15 minutes laid the foundation for us, in the second half, and went on to, I think, score 22 points to nil in the second half, which was, a comprehensive 40 minutes, much better than the first half. Well, I think it's important sometimes at half-time to read a couple of horoscopes to players, and tell the future. I think the other thing is that you just sometimes they just need a little bit of advice on where they're not, they're just not quite there, and some guys are, maybe not using some footwork, and some guys are probably just a little bit out of position, or maybe there's not enough movement at times on certain plays. It's generally nothing that can't be repaired, but it's, you don't have a lot of time at half time to point everything out. So a couple of points that are important, and I thought I got the response in the second half that I asked for.
So what the answer to my question was, it's the coach that makes the difference, does it then?
Oh, I think the players make the difference. I don't think the players get the credit, don't they, when we win, and I think the coach gets it in the neck when we get beat. So
no Fitzy today, so I don't know what the reason for that was, but were you pleased with Andy Ballard?
Yeah, and I'm happy to tell you about Fitzy. There's no secret to it. He woke up a little tight on the morning of the game, a little tight in the calf. He's had some history before with things, and I just decided to take him out of the team. I decided that he wanted to play, and I dare say, had this been a playoff game or something like that, he would have played. So he was probably somewhere in the 90 to 95% bracket. But I just decided to make that change. Gave Paul White an opportunity at fullback, and Andy Ballard in the second half played fullback. They just swapped over. So they've had a run out in those roles. They now understand how difficult it is at fullback compared to wing. But I was really happy with with their performances.
And how do you decide who kicks the goals? Because you've got a choice of three now, I noticed.
Well, no question, Andy Ballard's the number one kicker in the club. But of course, he didn't make the team against Rochdale. So if he's not in the team, it's hard for him to. Unless we can find a new rule that American football have where you can bring the kicker on. Johnny Wilshere's got a little bit of a groin strain, and he was never going to kick tonight. And Jordan Turner would have been the kicker, but Andy Ballard has, I think, shown tonight. I think he missed one goal, and he's an excellent kicker. Strikes the ball very well.
Yes.
So maybe he keeps him in the team for the next week. I'll have to wait and see. It's a fairly long week before the Swinton game, so.
Looking forward to Swinton, and we're expecting a full house, I would imagine, next week. Loads of travelling supporters.
Yeah, Sedgley Park's not far to go, is it? So. Let's hope so. Yeah. It's important for us to do some hard work during the week. We've got a long week. And by comparison, this was a very short week, and maybe there was a little rustiness and a little bit of flatness in terms of our enthusiasm to start off. I don't like to make excuses for players, but early season, it does take a bit longer to recover. And, Sunday to Friday, in maybe a month's time would be ideal. But probably just was a bit short when you consider that Oldham had a couple of days more recovery than us. I think they played on the Friday night of last week, so they've had basically a full week. We've had 5 days, and that, believe it or not, can make a difference to teams.
Yes, and you must be impressed with Oldham's attitude today on defence in particular.
Oh, they were superb. Yeah, they were superb. They got off the line well. They worked really hard. They showed plenty of enthusiasm. Their technique's good. I mean, they're a well-drilled side. For a National League 2 side, they're a big side. They've got good halves. They've got speed out wide. They're going to worry teams. They're going to worry a lot of teams, and we've got to go and play them at their ground in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm sure they're going to have learned a lot from tonight. But as much as I praise them, I'm hoping that we improve by the time we play them again.
2 out of 2. Is it going to carry on?
Well, you take that, don't you? I mean, you take every win. Performance is important. Getting the victories is also important. We've got a lot more in us. We've got a lot more work to do. I wouldn't like to be standing in front of you at this time of the year and saying that it's just about perfect tonight. I'd like to be saying that somewhere down the line. But I think the players know, they understand there's a lot of work to be done. So you take the wins. They've been comprehensive on the scoreboard. They haven't quite been as comprehensive technically. And we've been challenged by Rochdale and Oldham, and that's good. That's what we want. We want to be challenged all the time. So, 2 out of 2 is a great start.
Steve, you must have been delighted with the performance from your lads tonight.
Yeah, I thought that last week when they played Swinton, they were for improvement from the Rochdale game, and the challenge was to go in against Salford tonight and and make sure that we came up with a better performance than we did against Swinton. For 40 minutes I thought that we went in an arm wrestle and toe to toe with a very good Salford team.
Turning point just before half-time, conceding that try perhaps?
I thought the turning point came on 37 minutes when we spilt the ball right on their try line and give them a soft turnover. And I think ultimately at the end of the game, what was probably the difference between the two teams is we didn't make mistakes and get to a dead ball situation, which they did. They managed to recover the balls whenever they spilt it, whenever we spilt it. They hit us on quick plays and sort of over an accumulation of the set put a big dent in us, which led to either massive pressure on our try line or a try conceded.
Your travelling fans loved it. They were singing most of the second half, and that must make the players feel really proud of what they're doing.
I don't know whether the players were in a position to be able to hear that. I guess that if you're focused on what you're doing on the pitch, then you're not. I thought that the fans were outstanding for us, gave us great vocal support. I certainly heard them, but I don't know if the players heard them. I must say it's probably the best we've played for a long time. I thought that we went against a squad with 20 people who played Super League last year, and they were starting very quick. A lot of talent in there, and we showed that we weren't going to be overawed by the occasion, the speed of the game, or the reputation of the people opposite us. And I thought that we mixed it with them, and as I said earlier, went toe to toe with them.
And if there's a message for Oldham fans, is it get along and watch us this year?
I think
places.
I think that we put that message out last year. I think that in the 8 players that we recruited in the off season, that just sort of reinforced it. I don't think that we started particularly quick in the other games. I thought that we started pretty well tonight, so I'd just like to see us build on tonight and get a little bit more clinical in our execution. If we can do that, then I'm sure that we'll be an extremely good football team.